Here is the punchline. In a single run, Claude Cowork produced a draft slide deck, an action tracker spreadsheet with formula, and one-page memo of a messy folder of notes. And I'm going to show the exact input and the exact output as well as the prompt what was used to produce this. This is a first impression walkthrough. The only thing I'm optimizing here for is, can it real work? Can it do a multi-step work? And can it deliver the real files without me babysitting it? Right. So what I'm going to show you now is I have an input. I have a sandbox folder created. Let me go to my Finder. So here we are. I have a sandbox created, and as a part of folder, I have dummy inputs. In the dummy inputs, I have a meeting notes, transcript, excerpt, a customer feedback digest, as well as the KPI in a CSV file, and a rough action item list. And the goal I have is to turn into 3 artifact. And I'm also keeping an empty output folder. So if I go back to here, empty output folder where it should write everything. So what we have here is the Claude app on my Mac, and it works only on a Mac for now, and it only works with the Max plan. So there is a lot of limitations, but it's an early release for Mac user with a Max plan. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to allow this Claude Cowork to access to a folder. So I'm clicking here and I'm saying, okay, Claude Cowork demo, that is the folder I have, saying open it. And then it asking for permission that am I allowed to change files here? I'll say allow for once. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to give one outcome based instruction. And when I say outcome based instruction, something like this, that create a 3 deliverable from the files in this folder, a 6 slide deck, an Excel tracker, and a 1-page narrative based on that internal documents what I have. The constraint I have is the data is in, or the files are only in the inputs. So do not modify or delete any original files, and save your output in the output folder, and dari. These are the constraint I'm giving, and I'm asking it to do the work on behalf of me. So technically I am delegating, right? So this is a deliverable when then the constraint, and the difference between what you do in a chat prompt versus what you do in a delegation prompt, right? So this is more of a delegation assigned to Claude, in this case Cowork, and Claude is reading those files and it's actually applying some skills, applying some magic. Let's see what skill it has actually. So it's going through that folder and let's see which skill it is working through. Okay, so it's trying to understand the PPT. So applying the PPT skill, probably here it might be applying an Excel skill. Yep, with pandas. So it's applying an Excel skill and it's going through the motion, what it's supposed to be doing. And it's actually showing us that what all it's doing behind the scene, right? So it's creating a sandbox VM, not on my laptop, but actually somewhere else on the cloud, and making sure that information is secure in a way. And it's creating those files as we see. So this is the HTML file for the slide 1. Probably we'll see 2-3 slides being created on behalf of us. And probably we will see a final output from a file point of view. So in a way, it starts by planning and breaking the task into that multi-step, but I'm not micromanaging, right? It's doing on its own. I'm just watching for 2 things: that does it stay within the scope, and does it actually create usable artifacts? So it's creating artifacts here, slide 1 HTML and so forth. If it asks for any question, I'm going to answer it quickly. So far, it has not asked me any question, but the point is that it continues executing, right? And if anywhere it's going to prompt me, then yes, I'm going to answer that and then assign it a further task so that it can continue and doesn't get stopped. Now, this work will continue for another 2, 3, 4 minutes. Again, I don't know how long will it take. Yeah, it's creating a code to generate the PowerPoint. I think then it will create a code for Excel, and then it will create a code for Word. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pause this video for a minute or 2. And once it is all done, I'll come back here. Okay, a quick one. It did created PowerPoint and now it's working toward Excel. And as we see here, the progress has been made. It's checking off the to-do list. It did created something with Excel. Looks like it needed something else, XVFB. Uh, but it's still creating the Excel file. And finally, then it will write the memo. So what I'm going to do is I'll come back in a minute or so once the memo is ready. All right, so looks like it did completed the work. All three deliverables are created. According to my watch, it took about 5 minutes to finish everything end to end. And as we see the progress, it was making to-do list completed as it was progressing further. And here we see the PowerPoint deck with the 6 slide, Excel output, the Word memo. Now, what I'm going to show you is not from here, but let's go back to that Finder window. And here is my output folder. And we do see that three things got created just a minute ago, right? Right now it's 4:10 on my clock. It's 4:09. Let's quickly read through the output. First, let me start with the memo to see if it has a structure or whatnot. Yep, it has a structure. So this was my earlier run. This is my new run, right? And it comes with the structure, readable assumptions and explicit, the key decision, the critical risk, high impact, low impact, and so forth. Let's check the tracker, action tracker. That was the old one. Here is a new one. Let me zoom in so at least we have a view into whether the action items are covered. The owner is covered. Yep, date, status, formula for the overdue item is there. Now, finally, the slides. Just want to make sure that it covers some of the items what we need. Cool. So we have the slides ready. It has a multiple. So theme. Yep, key theme. We have the decision. We have it. Risk and mitigations plans have it, and the KPI snapshot, and then probably a next step. Typically for a board-friendly structure, that is what we had requested. So if you ask me, my first impression is that value is not it can write, right? I mean, probably you might be using Copilot and then you might be thinking, yep, Copilot can do this for me as well. The value is in end-to-end workflow, right? It can take that messy input. We never took a chance or got a chance to see what the input was. Let me give you at least one input here, meeting notes, and let me open it through the app. Here we go. All right, so let me bring it here. So this is my dummy, the notes what we had, and then from notes it's created an entire action item. And then there are other things like a CSV, for example. If I open up the same CSV here in the atom, this is the CSV from a search session. There's a result and query reform and whatnot from a KPI point of view, whatever the action items we had from the user, that is also in a CSV format, and such things. And then we had some glossary item assigned that, okay, what are the glossary, what we want to feed that information to the Claude in a way. So all this data, messy data, here is your transcript excerpt. If you are interested in seeing that, this is our transcript. Alex is saying this, Priya is saying this, and then all those have been taken as an input and we got finally as an output. But as you can see, take that messy input, produce the multiple format and write them to a folder. That is a meaningful step up from copy pasting into, let's say, 3 different applications, right? I'm sure some of you who are using Copilot, you probably can understand. The other thing is about guardrail. So here it's using a dedicated sandbox folder and limit permission. So technically we assign that folder and it's not going to deviate from that folder. Second, it's treating those agentic tools like a junior staff, right? So practically when we treat these agent tools as a junior staff, we provide that clear scope, we provide the clear constraint. That is what we did here, where we provide the clear task and then we provide the clear constraint. And when we review the output before anything goes external, this is all what we need at the end of the day, right? When we are working out. So what I can do is, if you want, I will share the exact prompt and the dummy input pack I use, so you can even reproduce this in 5 minutes. And if you are evaluating these tools in an enterprise, the real question is, that how do you make delegation auditable and defensible.